Responding to a crisis situation. This message has been brought to you by the University of California Police Department. In this presentation, we will discuss who is considered to be an active shooter, how to respond using the RAIN technique, and what to expect during an incident. What is an active shooter? The U.S. Department of Homeland Security identifies an active shooter as an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. In most cases, active shooters use firearms, and there is no pattern or method to their selection of victims. In the event of an active shooter or violent incident on campus, all members of the community must quickly and calmly take action to survive. You can do this by following 4 simple steps to take in the first 3 minutes of a crisis. These steps are respond, assess, isolate, and notify, or RAIN. R is for respond. In a crisis, the most important thing you can do is take control by doing something. Do not freeze up. Stay calm. Look around and find out what is happening, and try to identify the source of the disturbance in your area. A is for assess. When responding to a crisis, police rely on the community to assess important information about what is happening. Begin by assessing the status of the suspect. What does he or she look like? Think about what they are wearing, what the weapons look like, and where they are going. Also, notice their emotional state. Is this a faculty, staff, or student with a history of problems? Next, assess the status of victims. How many people are hurt? What are their injuries and where are they located? Are there other potential victims in the areas close by? And assess your location. Are you inside or outside? Does the door to the room you are in lock? Can you see the suspect from where you are? What is the best way for the police to reach you so that you can be helped? All of the information you gather in your assessments will be critical for police to use in their response. I is for isolate. Your best strategy for survival is to separate yourself from the suspect by either running, hiding, or, as a last resort, fighting. If you can safely get to an exit, then run. Have an escape route and plan in mind. Leave your belongings behind and evacuate regardless of whether others agree to follow. Help others escape if possible and prevent others from entering an area where the active shooter may be. If the evacuation is not possible, then hide. Go to an area out of the shooter's view. Block entry to your hiding place and lock the doors. Silence your cell phone, including vibrate mode, and remain quiet. As a last resort, and only when your life is in imminent danger, fight. Act with physical aggression and attempt to incapacitate the shooter. Use improvised weapons and commit to your actions because your life depends on it. N is for notify. Once you have taken steps to respond by assessing the situation and isolating yourself from violence, you need to call the police. Call yourself or assign someone to contact the police. It's best to assign multiple people to call police with different forms of notification. Dial 911 on a campus or cell phone, or call UC Police Department at 951-827-5222 in case 911 lines are busy. You can also send a text message or email to a friend to get them to call for help. Push panic buttons in your office or blue emergency call boxes and follow up with a call to police as soon as possible. Police may be responding to several locations. This is why it's important to relay specific information that you gather in the assessment step. Focus on sharing this with police so that they know who you are and that you need help. During an active shooter event, accurate and timely communication is critical in order for you to know what action should be taken. The emergency notification system is the campus's main way of communicating between police, campus leadership, and the community. Directions will be sent with this system via text message, email, or phone calls. Messages can be sent very quickly when timely notifications are needed, but you must register to receive messages from the system. So do so without delay if you have not yet registered. Faculty and staff must register using their UCR Net ID while students opt in during registration. Emails are used to provide follow-up messages as well as crime prevention and awareness information. Finally, the Campus Status webpage is also a resource for information regarding crisis-related class cancellations, building and street closures, and evacuation and reunification areas. Visit campusstatus.ucr.edu for more information. When an active shooter is in your vicinity, you must be prepared mentally for what you might see or hear so you can physically deal with the situation. There will be noise, confusion, and screaming. People are going to be confused and frightened. The fire alarm and sprinklers could be activated, and there could be people injured, bleeding, and likely dying or dead. Police officers responding to an active shooter are trained to proceed immediately to the area where the shots were last heard. Their purpose is to stop the shooting as quickly as possible. The first officers to arrive will not stop to aid injured victims. Rescue teams will follow shortly after the first responding officers enter the area.
The University of California system includes more than 400,000 students, faculty, and staff. Our system prides itself on our values: educate, illuminate, serve. We're here to shine a light on what's possible. What happens if the day turns dark? If an intruder attacks your campus or location? It only takes a moment for everything to change. The goal of this video is to help you know what to do in the event of an active shooter attack, and how to respond in a crisis to keep yourself safe. So what exactly is an active shooter? The warning signs may vary, but their risk is very real. The United States Department of Homeland Security defines an active shooter as an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. In most cases, active shooters use firearms, and there is no pattern or method to their selection of victims. For you, that means someone with a gun on campus who wants to kill.
How will you know when an active shooter attack is happening? Do you know what gunshots sound like? A single gunshot may sound like this. Or gunshots may sound like this. A single pop may be difficult to recognize, but an active shooter is likely to take more than one shot. If it sounds like gunfire, assume that it is gunfire. The same goes for screaming. While screaming doesn't always indicate danger, it may be a reaction that something bad is happening. Recognize gunshots and screaming as indicators of an active shooter situation. Active shooter events are unpredictable and evolve quickly. Knowing what to do can save your life and the lives of others. If there's an active shooter or crisis situation at your campus or location, everyone must act quickly and calmly to survive. Planning ahead will give you the opportunity to change the outcome. You can do this by following 4 simple steps: respond, assess, isolate, and notify, or RAIN.
R is for respond. Do something. Don't freeze up. Stay calm. Look around and find out what's happening and try to identify the source of the shooting in your area. A is for assess. Begin by assessing the suspect. What do they look like? What are they wearing? What do the weapons look like? Where are they going? Also notice their emotional state. Next, assess the victims. How many people are hurt? What are their injuries? Where are they located? Are there other potential victims in areas close by? Finally, assess your location. Are you inside a classroom? Does the door lock? Can you see the suspect from where you are? I is for isolate. Your best strategy for survival is to separate yourself from the attacker. Know when to run, hide, and as a last resort, fight.
If you're inside a building, find any way you can to get out, including emergency doors and windows. Stay alert to your surroundings, assess your exit options, and make a plan. When the time comes to run, leave everything behind. Don't waste your time trying to gather your personal items. The most valuable thing you have is yourself. If you're outside, stay alert and look for appropriate cover locations, such as brick walls, large trees, and parked vehicles. Encourage others to come with you, but do not waste valuable time trying to convince them. If they are indecisive, you may have to go on without them. Don't stop running until you are certain you're away from the danger. Don't turn around to see what's happening behind you. Getting yourself out of harm's way is your #1 priority. Once you're out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone. Deciding whether to help others may be the most difficult decision of your life. The best thing that you can do may be just to run and get help. If you think it's too risky to leave your current location, hide. Shooters seek easy targets, so don't be one. An ideal hiding place would be in a room without windows and with a locking door. If that's not an option, turn off the lights and shut the blinds. Silence your cell phone and stay as quiet as you can. When hiding, choose cover over concealment. Concealment is something like an office partition. It will hide you from sight, but it will not stop a bullet. Cover is something that will do both. Heavy wooden doors, file cabinets full of paper, and objects like this may decrease the likelihood of being shot. If possible, barricade doors behind you, even if they are locked. Make as little noise as possible when you block the entrance. Shooters want to do the most amount of damage in the least amount of time. Typically, they don't waste time exploring rooms that look unoccupied, nor do they go looking for people who are hiding. Once out of sight, shelter in place. Stay where you are for as long as it takes for the authorities to arrive. Stay calm and be patient. As a last resort, and if your life is at risk, fight. The last thing a shooter will expect is to be attacked by an unarmed person. Act with aggression, improvise weapons, disarm the shooter, and commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Whether you're alone or with a group of people, you must have the courage to defend yourself. The attacker has at least one weapon, and you do too. Look around. Chairs, textbooks, backpacks, rocks, pens. You have more options than you probably thought. One readily available weapon is a fire extinguisher. You will find them in nearly every hallway. You also have the art of surprise on your side. When you fight back, your goal is to overwhelm the attacker and minimize their ability to use weapons effectively by limiting their vision and physically disabling them. Others may join the fight when they see that the shooter has been interrupted. Lastly, when you fight back, don't stop too soon. Fight until the threat is over. You do not want to risk the shooter coming back and harming more people. Remember, any option you choose may still result in a negative consequence. Only you can decide at that moment what you will or will not do to preserve your life or the lives of others. Lastly, N is for notify. As soon as you've isolated yourself from the threat, notify the proper authorities. Dial 911. Call UCPD if 911s are busy. Tell the dispatcher there's an active shooter and your location. You can also send a text message or email to a friend to get them to call for help. Push panic buttons in your office or on blue emergency call boxes and follow up with a call to the police as soon as possible. Do not assume that someone else has already called 911. Your call could be the one that saves lives.
The number one job of the police is to stop the attack. This means that their purpose is to stop the shooting as quickly as possible. The first officers to arrive will not stop to aid injured victims, but rescue teams will follow shortly. Remember, active shooters look like anyone else, even like you. When you exit a building, put down any bags you may be carrying, raise your hands, and keep them visible. Remember, the police must act quickly and forcefully. Regardless of how officers appear, remain calm. Do as the officers say, and do not be afraid of them.
Remember, most active shooter incidents begin unexpectedly and end quickly. There are steps you can take to prepare yourself for such events. If you can remember, run, hide, fight, you have the most important knowledge you need to survive an active shooter attack.
To prevent an active shooter, UC Police Department relies on various sources to report suspicious behavior and/or activity. If there is activity that seems a potential threat to yourself and/or the campus, please contact the UC Police Department at 951-827-5222 or dial 911 in case of an emergency. If a student appears to be in an emotionally distressed state, you should refer them to counseling and psychological services. Another resource available is the Critical Student Incident Team, who provides support and action in addressing the needs of students who are distressed, disruptive, or potentially harmful to themselves or others. The CSI team is coordinated by campus case managers. Members consist of the Dean of Students, Housing, Health Center, Counseling, Police, Student Special Services, and Student Conduct. As a reminder, during an active shooter event, quickly determine the most reasonable way to protect your life. Have an escape route and plan in mind. Dial 911 when it's safe to do so. Discuss practice and prepare for an emergency, and review the RAIN technique regularly so that you're prepared to respond in the event of a violent act on campus. This message has been brought to you by the University of California Police Department. For more information about crime prevention, visit police.ucr.edu.